pig butchering is when someone approaches you with a spam text. Like, we all get them. And it's like, hey, Dave, did you get the milk for the cat on your way home? Like, they're like a little off.
Right.
But if you write back, they'll try to make friends with you. And often the person at the other end will pretend to be like an attractive young Asian woman. And they'll start dropping hints about they have a rich uncle who's able to make these really profitable crypto trades. And I got one of these texts and started playing along and developed a pen pal friendship with this person who was saying their name was Zeke Faux. And she eventually told me, hey, buy 100 tethers, which are like a mainstream stable coin you can get on Coinbase or crypto.com or any of the like normal crypto apps, and send them to this other crypto app called ZBXS. And Vicky promised me that if I did that, she was going to introduce me to profitable short-term node trades that would generate reliable 30% returns. And like, we all know this is nonsense, but in this like crypto world, like where for a couple of years it seemed like anything was possible, a lot of people were falling for this. People sent in hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. One expert that I spoke to estimated that $10 billion had been lost to these crypto romance scams. And the crypto plays two roles in it. One is it's the story that gets people to send their money. And the other thing is that you can go on crypto exchanges, acquire these tether tokens very easily, and then zap them over, and you'll never get them back. It's anonymous. There's no way for the authorities to trace them.
This portion of the book that Jess is referring to was in the book, but we also were able to get you to talk to us about it a couple of weeks ago, Zeke. It was featured in the August 21st issue of Bloomberg Businessweek, excerpted in there. You also, I got to tell you, after our conversation and reading that excerpt, Zeke, I started thinking about those spam texts in a completely different way. Because it's really ugly, the truth there. I mean, you spoke to somebody who had escaped from essentially prison or slavery, indentured servitude, by cobbling together an iPhone, making an iPhone work by essentially hotwiring it.
Yeah, so that is the really dark part, is that the people on the other end of these texts are often...
It's not Vicky.
Yeah, they're like, Vicky disappeared, never found out who she was. But what I did find out is that a lot of the people sending these messages, they're people from Southeast Asia who've been tricked into traveling to Cambodia and then trapped in, like, legitimately, sounds like a conspiracy theory, but I've seen it with my own eyes, huge like office towers filled with floor after floor of people who are sending these spam text messages around the clock. So that the person that sent you that kind of nonsense text, like, it's not a bot. It could be someone who is being threatened with beatings, other torture, who can't leave this job without paying a ransom. And like you said, I spoke to Twee, who was victimized in this way and had raised money for the ransom from a YouTuber. And when I spoke to him, he returned to Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. And he told this crazy, MacGyver-ish story about how he was able to get an iPhone and charge it using no tools and a fluorescent lamp.
And he had to smuggle the iPhone in.
So his story was that he had stolen it from the guards, but not the charger. He had secreted it inside himself, a trick that he learned in prison, and that when he was alone, he took this iPhone apart and peeled out the battery and then hotwired it to a fluorescent lamp. And so very respectfully, when we were together in Vietnam, I was like, Twee, I don't think you can do that. Like I'm very sorry for what you went through, but like, are you sure? Is that really true? And he was like, I'll show you right now. We bought an iPhone. He took it apart with no tools, took apart a LED lamp in my hotel room, wired the battery to this lamp, charged it, and turned it right on. I was floored.
Wow.
I mean, just thinking about that, especially the way you were able to speak to some of these victims, and even like you were mentioning, Vicky, who also could potentially be, like you were saying, somebody who could be part of this broader sort of victim thing. But we'll have more coming up with Zeke shortly for another segment to dive even deeper into this fascinating book that he's written here, Tim.
It's called Number Go Up, Inside Crypto's Wild Rise and Staggering Fall. Written by our colleague here at Bloomberg News, Zeke Faux. He's with us in the Bloomberg Interactive Brokers studio. The book on sale today.